GTII has broken our key support today. Let's find out what could be the possibilities for the next trading session. What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for stopping by once again. This is ARCa coming at you with a GTII technicals, raw price action, and statistical thread of analysis on this flying Tuesday. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video with a friend so that you and them could consider joining our trading community in Discord called ARCa. With that said, let's dive right into the charts. Okay, so yes, today's price action was very interesting as we were unable to see the breaking of this key support that we've actually been talking about for some time. Now, what could also be happening is that we may actually be in the process of attempting to test our newly converted resistance into support, like we mentioned on either the last video or the video prior to that, where we said the potential of about a 97-cent drop. Now that's not entirely confirmed, and in fact I opened up this chart brand new so that we can evaluate the price action together, right? So I'm going to give you as much of a discretionary side that I usually give, and I'm going to give you the systematic side of things as well. Okay, so in this case my discretionary side is taking over just a little bit into looking at a few possibilities that may be the potentials for GTII in the coming sessions. Okay, so again, let's go ahead and revert back to the statistical side of the analysis. This is volatility versus momentum that we've been looking at. Okay, now the criteria and the conditions were absolutely met for us to be able to make that 253% move to the upside thus far. Okay, so now the conditions are in a 3-day chart, right? So we're looking at critical volatility still in place. We're looking at momentum still in place as well, suggesting the upside. And the reason why it's happening like this and it's still suggesting upside is because it's a 3-day chart, so it's likely to take some time to correct. So in this case, we can see that the closure for this 3-day candle will happen in about 2 days. So I just wanted to touch on this because the criteria is still met there, okay, for a continuation to the upside. So let's go ahead and continue on with the analysis and see what other signals we can acquire into potential continuation to the downside. Okay, so now GTII in the daily chart, and particularly to the Crypstex ARC-Series indicators, we still have a long signal printed, and it's still the original long signal that it printed on December 22nd. Okay, so now even with this red candle from today, it's still actually honoring that long signal, which is very curious. So at this point, this is why I'm saying that maybe my discretionary side would have to take over just a little bit from the systematic side, because sometimes the gut tells you something else that data won't tell you, right? But usually, trust me when I say that I actually tend to trust the data a little more than my discretionary side. But let's go ahead and now block the visibility from ARMor and load up DBSI. So DBSI is a statistical indicator that actually measures every single candle's score. And based on that statistical score, we actually get a strength value, okay, or a strength verse. So you're looking at bulls 88% versus bears at 12%, even with this candle today. Okay, and we still haven't printed a sell signal on the DBSI. The sell signal will usually appear as a red dot, and the buy signal would usually appear as a blue dot. Okay, so as you can see, the blue dot is still being honored, and we still have not printed that bear signal just yet. Okay, so very interesting, the fact that now we have statistics still suggesting upside, and now we have another form of statistics still suggesting upside, and the exponential moving averages based on the ARC-ARMor are still suggesting the upside as well. Okay, so now let's just keep on moving to see if we can gain a deeper edge. Okay, so this is what I mean by breaking the key support. So this was our area of interest here that we wanted to make sure to keep. Okay, so now obviously we've broken that down, but the direction is what I'm curious about here. And another thing that I'm very curious about is that I hope it's I really hope it's not us trying to do this. You know, what I mean by what I'm saying is actually. And actually, you know what? I can actually just leave it like this and show you the potential of what could be an inverse head and shoulders, right? So in this case, we could be forming that as well. I hate calling out patterns like this, and I also hate calling out. You guys know how I feel about these cups and handles and you know, head and shoulders and stuff. The occasional head and shoulders here and there, that's okay, but sometimes it's, you know, sometimes it calls for it, sometimes it doesn't. So there is a strong possibility that we are in the process of forming that. Okay, so if we were looking at an immediate support from this type of head and shoulders, the inverse head and shoulders, we can actually see that it would be right about here at this candle closure. And it would potentially be around 95 cents, which is actually in accordance with our 5-day chart located right over here at about 96 cents. 97 cents at that resistance, well, now converted as a support, right? So there's also some confluence there that we have to pay attention to, okay? So we're going to validate these moves even further, and we're going to do that by looking at the divergence chart and RSI, okay? So in this case, in every case, divergence is the opposition of price action versus momentum. Momentum in this case represented by RSI. Okay, so we can actually see that the 12-hour RSI is still suggesting some downside, and we actually printed some new drives of hidden bearish divergence, which usually happens when the price action is making. Let me just here. I'm sorry. The diagram right over here is showing you what the divergence is doing. Okay, so particular to hidden bearish divergence, you're looking at price action making a series of higher lows, and the price action and momentum making a series of higher highs. Okay, so this is where you can see that detail, and you can see that we have 3 drives of it. Okay, and it looks like it has started. Okay, so there is a potential here. I'm not going to put too much weight on this because of the aggression of the sell. But there is a potential to where we can find support at that 14-day moving average pink line. Okay, the purple line is our RSI signal. So now let's open up multi-pane and see what we can do or look at as far as the next trading sessions. Okay, so we're gonna do it just like always. We're gonna start off with the 30-minute immediate short-term time frame. Okay, so the immediate short-term time frame is suggesting a continuation to the downside, and it has since moved below our 14-day moving average. Okay, so please focus in on these zones, as I will be speaking of them very often. Okay, these 4 zones are these 4 zones right over here on the RSI. Okay, so you can see that we're very much in the grips of the bear strength percentile for the immediate short-term time frame. Okay, so this means that we're going to be facing some downside almost immediately. Let's look at the 15-minute, and okay, 15-minute is suggesting downside. Okay, the early session, I'm talking 5-minute chart, there is a potential tiny bounce that we can actually find, and we'll look at the price action to see where that can go. But please remember that 5-minute time frames are very, very short-lived, and often times just as a scalp, right? Okay, so now the bi-hourly is suggesting a continuation to the downside as well. It has now arrived at the very deep zone of the bear weakness percentile, which usually means we can face a gravitational pull into that following zone, which would be the bear strength percentile. Now, the 6-hour time frame is suggesting a continuation to the downside. Please do know that the aggression of the sell has actually curved a little bit and has slowed down a bit. Okay, so this and it's also at the shallow areas of the bear weakness percentile, which means that we could face a type of pull right back into bull weakness. That's not a guarantee though whatsoever. Okay, since we do have some pretty strong immediate short-term time frame downsides. Okay, so now the daily time frame is in a good place, particularly for the fact that we are still above the moving average and can be used as a form of support, and you know, it can be used for a bounce to the upside. Okay, so the moving average is still suggesting sideways trading, and the RSI signal itself is very much in the shallow areas of the deep areas of the bear weakness percentile. Okay, usually that means that we can be pulled right into here. We can then use the moving average as a little bit of a bounce. We can recover and then continue continue on to the upside. Okay, so there is a few things in mind here. Okay, so that was the buy daily RSI, by the way. So there are a few things that we should keep in mind within what's happening with the price action. Okay, so there are several other opportunities that are opening up, and it looks like retail may want to take advantage of those and are taking profits from this. Okay, in the process of taking profits from this, it's very curious that it would actually lead us to test this 96-cent zone before a bounce. And I say this is because the sell pressure isn't so significant. It's very tiny. If you can look at this little bar of volume right down there. Okay, so it's a huge candle here with very little volume. Okay, so that leads me to believe that there's potential take profits happening right now in order to chase other plays that are currently movers, which there are plenty of them actually. Mullen being included, CLNV being another one, COSM being another. So there are a few other plays that may be kind of taking the attention away from GTII temporarily. Okay, so we're gonna have to go ahead and watch this price action very carefully, as there could be the potential of making some type of bull flag here. Okay, so I can't guarantee that just yet, and I also don't like calling out bull flags because it's just another silly formation that has little hit rate. Okay, so but I think just please know that I'm not a financial advisor. Take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment. Okay, I need you to do your own DD and everything will be just fine, you guys. But please, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I know it's taking me a bit long to reply to some people. Just the messages are getting a little cluttered in the DMs. All right, so if I haven't responded, please don't hesitate to shout it out again, and I'll try my best to get back to you. Okay, so with that said, I wish you well. I wish you a very good night, and I will catch you at the bell mañana. Adios.